Kentucky. So white people, they can write stuff down, and they're so good at writing stuff down, but how come they don't know who the first white person is in Kentucky, okay? So no, white people don't have their shit together, not in any, by any stretch of the imagination. They judge other people, well, we're better than them, we're better than, but that's their whole thing. That's all they got, is to pretend that they're better than others. So just like the teachers in the education system, and just like the royalist French and English, royal families, they had nothing to offer anybody. We're going to manipulate and control over you, and then you're going to love the idea of a strong, ordered, monarchical system. There is order because the king says that there's order, and that's what people fucking love. Well, it's all bullshit. It's all one big fucking illusion. All they're doing is trying to fucking manipulate you and oppress you and tell you what to fucking do, like you're a little bitch ass nigger slave. Like you're a bitch ass nigger slave. Like you back in the fucking old antebellum South. Shut the fuck up. Go pick my fucking cotton. Go do this. Let me fucking molest you. Let me take all your fucking wealth. Let me take all your labor. Let me take every fucking thing that you've done. Oh, thank you. I'll be taking all that corn. Thank you. I'll be taking all that. This is Native Americans, white people, okay? So you have historians are genociding all the Native Americans. Not only did the white people genocide it, but then you got the historians of today are genociding Native Americans out of the history books. Part of history is the events that happened, yes. The other part of history is how we remember the events that happened, okay? Diderot, speaking about Voltaire, says that when he speaks, Voltaire was a great historian because when he spoke about the facts, he didn't just teach, other historians teach facts to teach facts, okay? This thing happened, this is what we take away from it, shut the fuck up, that's what the history book says, that's what I just told you. Voltaire, on the other hand, he taught history with a hatred of superstition, taught history with a hatred of tyranny, superstition, hierarchy. Let's see, tyranny, superstition, hierarchy, and like 5 other things. So basically, hatred of lying, hatred of superstition, hatred of ignorance, hatred of tyranny. That is what, that's the point of history. And then after they teach the hatred of all these horrible elements, tyranny, superstition, ignorance, you teach a hatred of that stuff so that after the facts of the situation are gone, the anger still remains. The 1855 Know Nothing riots isn't just some fucking thing that happened 100-something years ago. The 1855 Know Nothing riots tells me how my fucking family was treated when we got to America. So, because my family was speaking Plattdeutsch German, because we were living amongst ourselves in German towns, we were speaking a different language. We came to this country just like the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants did. They didn't have a visa. None of these white people had a goddamn fucking visa. Germans get here speaking a different language than English because what? America is just inherently English? Get the fuck out of here. If we were supposed to assimilate into the culture, we should be speaking Algonquin, okay? So you want to sit there and say that you don't like our German tongue? Well, I don't like your English tongue. You should be speaking Algonquin. That's American. You want to talk about American language? Speak Algonquin. If you speak Algonquin, then you actually assimilated into the American culture. If you don't speak Algonquin, get the fuck out of here with all that English as a national language bullshit. We are an immigrant nation and not a melting pot to be one fucking people, but we're a melting pot and a salad bowl. We want everything. We want a multiplicity of diversity, okay? So anyways, where am I going with all this? The genociding, yeah, so it's how we remember it. So it's how we remember the facts, okay? So, the 1855 Know Nothing riots, oh yeah, that's a little interesting tidbit piece of knowledge, but it means something to me. It means 1869 is when the Gripshavers came to northern Kentucky. The Gripshavers are my mother's ancestors, the German ancestors. They came from Germany. Gripshaver came from Barsmachult, Prussia, before Germany was even a country. 1869, that was 14 years after the 1855 Know Nothing riots. 4 years after the Civil War. But there's a continuity. Who are the people that's fighting in the Civil War? Who are the people that was hating the Germans and the Irish? The plantation owners, the southern fucking racist Confederate plantation owners were the assholes that were hating the fucking Germans and the Irish when they came over here. A bunch of racist, bigoted, totalitarian, fascist, white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, English, conquistador piece of shit. That's who was fucking with the Germans and the Irish. You want to go ahead and defend the fucking southern plantation system of slavery? You want to defend 10,000 plantation owners? You a poor white. You don't have no fucking slaves, but you got all these poor whites in the South that's defending their social hierarchy, right? I may be poor, dumb, stupid, but at least I'm white. No, you're poor, dumb, and stupid, and poor. You're always going to be shitty because you think you're better than other fucking people. That man is your brother, okay? That man is your fucking brother. And so, yeah, fuck the racism, fuck the fucking bullshit. But there's a clear continuity between what happened in the Civil War, what happened in 1855, Know Nothing Rights, and then what happened to my German culture, my German heritage. Direct correlation, direct relationship. So you're going to sit there and tell me things that are important in my life isn't important to other people? Nah, that's some bullshit. Okay, so the importance of the event is not the event of itself, but it's how people remember it. 1855, Know Nothing Rights gives me an indication of how the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants were treating the Gripshovers when they came to America. And they didn't treat them nice. They treated them shitty, and it was fucking bullshit. They used violence against them, right? They used fucking violence with them. And the Germans, what did the Germans bring? Oh, they only fucking built America, right? So, yeah, basically, I mean, again, Native Americans built America. Black people built America. Germans built America. But it goes off to the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They can fucking steal all this shit. Kindergarten. That means garden of children. That's a German word. That's a German idea. The entire education system is from Prussia. Prussia, 1806. Prussia's wiped off the map. But we're still carrying Prussia's fucking ideology and culture here today. Very Prussian. Okay, so you got the entire education system is German, kindergarten's German, engineers, Einstein, Albert Einstein, Eisenhower. Really, a lot of white people today don't know they're German or Irish, and so you could have a shit ton of fucking German Americans who have contributed substantially to and I think Germans are the biggest, you know, minority group in the white people. So like 20 to 30% of the white people are fucking Germans. They built America. The Germans were people, the fucking German Americans built this fucking country. They had a very substantial impact upon the building of this country, right? So, no, they're not the only ones. You know, I guess everybody builds, you know, a fucking country that's a part of it. But they weren't treated right. They weren't treated with the respect they deserve. There's about 20, I don't know, there's probably about 5 to a dozen or so German-speaking newspapers in this time. So you have, you know, you have literary people, you have people that's out there trying to actually get informed. They're establishing newspapers, and they're fighting for justice. They came over here and they said slavery was bullshit. So that's why you had people hating the Germans, because they didn't like the institution of slavery. Germans didn't want to be fucking slaves in Germany. That's why they came to America, to get their own piece of ground so they could be free, so they could be kings on their own fucking lands and don't have to fucking listen to the king conscripting us into their fucking militaries to go fight their fucking battles, you know, over some fucking imaginary lines on a fucking map. So that's why you teach, that's the point of history. You teach history so that the fucking anger remains. That's, you know, that's how, so when I think about the 1855 Know Nothing Rights, I don't think about, you know, I do think about the Plug Uglies. The Plug Uglies were a fucking terrorist group that went around beating everybody up, you know, and then getting people to go vote. They called them coupon, so they would kidnap people and force them to vote for about 10 fucking times. So that was the Plug Uglies. But there's so many facts. There's the 1855 Know Nothing Rights swept through the country. It wasn't just in Louisville and Cincinnati. We had a Know Nothing president, Know Nothing governor. Know Nothings were everywhere. The Democratic Party was Andrew Jackson. The Whig Party was going down, and they needed a new political party. So they were going with the Know Nothings, and then you had the rise of the Republican Party. And then everybody, you know, the racists went back to the Democrats. So that's why you had the big Know Nothing. So the memory of all the specific facts, because there's like 6 cities, right? Columbus, St. Louis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Chicago, New Orleans. And I just memorized that because of CCC and SNL. SNL. Saturday Night Live, CCC, right, which is like CCCP, the old Soviet Union, CCC, SNL. But I only remember those specific facts because I try to remember it, but I remember the whole fucking thing is just basically a anti-German, anti-Irish, and anti-Catholic, anti-foreign element, a hatred of the so-called original fucking Americans, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who murdered the fucking Native Americans, who genocided the natives, who murdered the fucking Mexicans, who took their fucking land in the Mexican-American War, and then they enslaved people. They had all these fucking slave pictures where they pose, where they're like posing with all the fucking slave people. Then you have the Boone County cop who murdered the fucking white woman. Nobody gives a shit because that's expected. For a woman to be able to drink freely, that is not what is expected. What is expected from white people is for them to gun down people, and then for everybody to coalesce around them and defend their fucking butchery. Don't tase me, bro. Right? So you have horrible things that happen, and then you have the mass of the white people just sit there and watch this shit happen and not say a fucking thing. In fact, sometimes even defend it and brag about it. Taking postcards of lynching and passing it around to everybody. That's the fucking white people we're talking about here. And slavery was fucking horrible, okay? God, the shit that they would fucking do to the slaves. Watch Goodbye Uncle Tom, and then tell me how the fuck you think about slavery after Goodbye Uncle Tom. After seeing the effects of slavery, you tell me how the fuck you feel. I got to stop ranting because I'm not getting any information in. Okay, so I'm going to do an overview, and the next one I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so where did Ahwahnee, the Shawnee town in Irvin, go? So in Irvin, Kentucky, you had a town called Ahwahnee. You had Chenoa, which is at the mouth of the Scioto and Ohio rivers, which I think is in Boyd County or Greene County, northeast Kentucky. So you had a town in Chenoa, northeast Kentucky. You had Ahwahnee in Irvin, Kentucky, central Kentucky. You had one in Boone County, the Big Bone Licks tribe, right, which is in northern Kentucky. See, northern Kentucky, central Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, Ahwahnee, and Skipakittiki, which is also a central Shawnee town. So Skipakittiki, Ahwahnee, Chenoa, and the Big Bone Licks people. And then you had Quiz, right? Whoever the Quiz were, but you had a town that was in Kentucky on the western side that Hernando de Soto ran into. So there's 5 permanent tribes there. There's no permanent settlements, no permanent villages. Bullshit. The English and the fucking French murdered them all. They killed every one of them because they were fighting each other and they were involved in a proxy war, and they wound up being used like the fucking Vietnamese or like the Koreans, right? They're the ones that's in the middle of the battle between these two superpowers, but it has nothing to do with what's actually going on in their country. The two superpowers want to steal their fucking lands, okay? And instead of just coming right out and saying it like that, they play all these fucking tricks and all these other games with them. So we got about 5 permanent settlements in Kentucky, right? I'm calling it the Quiz because I think that's the Quiz were the people that was in western Kentucky. That's the Chickasaw lands. Chickasaws are the ones that are known as being in western Kentucky. So the Quiz, are they the Chickasaw? I don't know. So you got Ahwahnee, you got Chenoa, you got a Skipakittiki, Ahwahnee, Chenoa, Skipakittiki, Quiz, and then Big Bone Lick tribes. And most the 3 or 4 of those are Shawnee, and then the Quiz, that could be Chickasaw or some other fucking group that got wiped out, right? That fucking died of all the diseases. I don't see them picking up and just leaving. But yeah. So the Chenoa was also called the Lower Shawnee Town, and the Lower Shawnee Town, also known as the Bentley Site, Chenoa, Sanantio, is the late Fort Ancient Culture, Madisonville Horizon archaeological site overlain by an 18th century Shawnee village. It's located near South Portsmouth, in Greenup County. Okay, so it's in Greenup County, right? That's where it's at. Northeastern Kentucky. Chenoa, Lower Shawnee Town. It's in Greenup, Kentucky. Okay, so it was added to the National Register of Historic Places on April 28, 1983. Between 1735 and 1758, Lower Shawnee Town became a center for commerce and diplomacy, a sort of republic populated by a diverse array of migratory peoples from the Iroquois to the Delawares and supplied by British leaders. Lower Shawnee Town become a formidable threat to French ambitions with a fairly large number of bad characters from various nations. Lower Shawnee Town posed a significant challenge to France and Great Britain alike. The community was less of a village, more like a district extending along the wide Scioto River, narrow Ohio River floodplains and terraces. Sprawling series of wickiups and longhouses. French and British traders regard Lower Shawnee Town as one of the 2 capitals of the Shawnee tribe. So Chillicothe is is a Shawnee town, and Chillicothe, they kept getting burned down. But the Shawnee, they were fucking moved. You know, they were fucking swift. They had permanent settlements, but they're partially permanent, partially fucking nomadic. So when the whole city was burnt down, they still survived. Okay, you go burn down a whole fucking city of white folks. I don't know, maybe fucking FEMA might help today. Um, but it would be more like, oh my god, what's going on? But they were used to being able to forage and live out in the woods and shit, and they wind up reestablishing Chillicothe like 4 or 5 fucking times, especially when you got George Rogers Clark fucking them over.